Listen, folks, this is not an attack video, so hold your horses, relax. This is not me going after AOC or anything like that. As I've already explained to you guys, I really strongly reserve any of my, like, super criticism or anything like that towards the progressive leaders that we have, the real progressive leaders, right? Because I know that they have to deal with so many different factions and all the stress that they deal with, and they have to make political calculations and decisions. I get it all. But what I'm doing right now is asking questions because there just seems to be something going on. So I'm not here to rail on AOC. I'm just pointing out what seems to be a very worrisome trend for me, man. I really have to tell you. So there are a couple of things going on here. Now, it looks to be that the first piece that this kind of thing came up with was her defending Elizabeth Warren. Now, there's someone by the name of Jennifer Rubin. I don't know why she is who she is. I don't know. But she's a Republican who's trying to act like a Democrat, and so she's anti-Sanders, obviously. She's dumber than Dave Rubin, which is virtually impossible. But she basically called Warren, angry or bitter or whatever. And so she says, Warren was not mean nor angry. She was effective. And by the way, we are allowed to be angry about racial profiling. You're allowed to be angry about, say, sexual harassment or at big banks committing fraud against single parents. Anger at injustice is quite appropriate. It's truly time to retire the misogynist trope that angry men are powerful, yet angry women are unhinged. It's such gaslighting nonsense. You should be mad at abuse of power. The real question is how one channels that energy into positive change that creates justice. Now, some of this is accurate, especially if you're responding to Jennifer Rubin, but like a lot of it's not accurate. So the idea that there's some trope that angry men are powerful but angry women are unhinged. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about a Republican election, but dude, we're in a Democratic primary right now. And the main allegation against Bernie Sanders has been, and coming from Jennifer Rubin and other types of the centrist Democrats in the Democratic Party, saying that Bernie's just an old guy he's just a bitter old man who's angry and yelling. Literally this entire election cycle, that's all they've been saying. So that trope does not exist. I hate to break it to you because they've been shitting on Bernie Sanders nonstop for that same thing. And I don't know where she's really getting this from, especially because people who saw Elizabeth Warren yesterday did not see her as this angry woman who was unhinged. Everyone was like, wow, like she's clapping people right now, you know? Like she clapped up Bloomberg and Amy and Pete and all these losers, you know? So she's dead wrong there. And then when she's talking about anger, why is she saying this about Elizabeth Warren, dude? This is another thing that bothers me. It's like the person to use that as a defense for is Bernie Sanders because they've literally all of these folks have been talking about Bernie and his supporters. They're just all about anger. You want to know who said that? Elizabeth fucking Warren said that herself. Said that, his campaign or his supporters are based on hate. And my response to that was the same response AOC is giving right now, which is, dude, we hate the extreme wealth inequality that exists, the student loan debt crisis, homelessness, shitty, wages, all of this stuff, right? 40,000, 68,000 people dying from lack of health insurance every year. So that's what we hate. And yes, it's good to hate those things. Okay, hate is not necessarily a bad thing if you hate the, bad things, right? So why are you not defending Bernie Sanders in that way? And then what ends up happening is, and I don't know if I have the tweet pulled up for this, but literally what ends up happening is the Elizabeth Warren campaign ends up sending out emails very, very misleadingly, by the way. Screw them for that. By attaching this tweet as if she's like endorsing Elizabeth Warren. Bloomberg did the same thing with Obama, by the way. But like you're being a tool for the Elizabeth Warren campaign and like half of the stuff you're saying is wrong, and a comment flipping it and applying it to Bernie Sanders would make it right on the money. So it's just like, what are you doing, And then I don't really see, she seemed to be more defensive of Elizabeth Warren here than she was about Bernie. I mean, I can't even find a Bernie tweet here, dude. And this is what's really, really, and actually the more, as I'm recording this video, the more worried I'm getting because she seemed to go out of her way to defend Elizabeth Warren more than she even did Bernie Sanders. And I actually think that she probably saw backlash, something like that, and then she ended up, retweeting this Bernie Sanders tweet, and then sending out this tweet saying one major reason I support Bernie, blah 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 blah, consistency. And so I think that's the reason why she sent that out afterwards. But she doesn't seem to mention Bernie by name at any point whatsoever. And so what I can't tell, and this is what I always struggle with, man, I'll see these Fox News articles or these right-wing articles. I can't tell whether they're trying to sow division amongst the left, but there was apparently a fight between the AOC camp and the Bernie camp, and, one of the things that the Bernie camp was pissed off about was that when Bernie was stuck in the Senate trials with the whole impeachment stuff, AOC wasn't saying Bernie's name at all, or not enough. And, I'm kind of seeing it now. Like, it makes, like, she never says the guy's name, but look, she'll say Warren's name. Like, it's like, and by the way, Warren snaked AOC too, because on the debate stage, what did she say? When she was shitting on Bernie Sanders' healthcare plan, what did she say? She says his advisor says that they won't even get it done. Do you know who she's talking about? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, because another fatal mistake that she made was stating that in a nightmare scenario, we get a public option. Why on earth would you say that, AOC? First of all, we're fighting our asses off for Medicare for all, and we're not stopping until then. But let's hypothetically grant you that's the truth. Why would you come out and say that? Are you serious? What? You don't come out and give away the strategy. I'm not even of that strategy, by the way. We have to fight for Medicare for all. It's a moral emergency. The same way civil rights movement was, all of that stuff. But if that's your strategy, right? Let's do like a steel man type of thing here. Why would you give it away and then you give up? Like, it's almost like she's trying to help Elizabeth Warren's campaign, because after that, a bunch of Elizabeth Warren shit libs come out and they're like, oh, look, even Bernie Sanders' campaign is admitting they can't get it done. Let's see them criticize him the same way they've done Warren. And it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? What the hell is happening? And then she retweets Joy and Reid. There's no excuse for this. I'm sorry, but Joy and Reid is such a destructive, regressive, sexist, and racist that there's no excuse for retweeting her. Literally none whatsoever. Some people I could see. Joy and Reid, there's no circumstance. If you know Joy and Reid, you know exactly what's going on. And so the tweet that she retweeted is so stupid too. This is what we missed in last night's Dem debate. As fiery as it was, we are in an increasingly authoritarian national emergency, which is playing out while the Dem candidates debate over the meaning of socialism and their healthcare plans. Like, are you kidding me? That's literally a stupid centrist talking point. Michael Bloomberg literally just came out, and the day after the debate was like, the biggest winner of the Democratic debate was Donald Trump, and we need to talk more about how Donald Orange Man bad. And it's like, dude, are you kidding me? That's literally the worst strategy for nominating a Democrat to defeat Donald Trump. And she's playing into their hands. How are you going to retweet that, bro? What is going on? That's a horrible tweet that is precisely the kind of thing that is a talking point used against Bernie Sanders. Let's not talk about the issues. Let's talk about Orange Man bad. And it's like, okay, what on earth is going on here? I'm just not sure what's happening with AOC. And again, I'm not like sounding the alarms off or anything. And I know I did a video on The View yesterday where she calls Nancy Pelosi Mama Bear. I mean, that was cringy too, but like, I'm trying not to blame her because I see her as attempting to basically not like spark off this massive beef between herself and Whoopi Dumberg. But then again, you may be like, oh, maybe that has to happen. Maybe she's trying to reconcile all the sides. Honestly, my brain is breaking trying to understand what the hell is going on. I'm getting Tulsi Gabbard vibes here in terms of just not being able to understand what's going on. But this is not to say like she's, losing it or she's TFG or nothing like that. I don't know what to come away from this with, dude, because she doesn't talk about Bernie Sanders. She never mentions him by name. it seems like she only did that after she probably got some backlash for her comments. She's, actively, that comment she made about Medicare for all was a really stupid one. There's a whole thing about not mentioning Bernie's name and then defending Elizabeth Warren in the most embarrassing ways possible. Again, talking points against Bernie Sanders. And she's wrong, by the way. I just debunked her, like, half of her tweet, retweeting Joy and Reid, and it's just like, okay, what on earth is going on here? I don't know what's happening. And the thing is, AOC low-key saved Bernie Sanders' campaign, actually. Like, Bernie Sanders had that myocardial infarction, aka heart attack, and he was dropping in the polls, and that looked to be like, oh man, this may not be good for Bernie. But then the squad comes out, the real squad, not Ayanna Pressley, by the way. She's not part of the squad. And so, she came in the clutch for Bernie to really revive his campaign basically when it was about to die. So, if someone can explain this to me, obviously I always read the comment section, so let me know what you think. Tell me what on earth is going on here, because I have no clue. All I know is I am very, very worried.